Hello citizens and welcome back. This is a video on something Pep said the other day, and I think maybe some of it rings true as well. Now, after the defeat to United, we're in a bad run. We know that we're in a bad place. Players are lacking confidence. There's no work rate there for me for most of the team as well. There's just no energy. There's no impetus. There's nothing there. We've got no creativity. We've forgotten how to be a team, and we've forgotten how to compete. And that's the most disappointing thing about this run, is that we're not even competing. We might compete for the first 6-7 minutes of a game, but if we don't score in the opening 10, we just take a nosedive after that. And there's just nothing from the players. And to be honest with you, that goal against United, it was lucky. It was against the run of play. I thought United were a better team throughout. I think we might have edged possession. I know we did in the first half. I'm not really sure about the second, but we might have edged it. I might have had a few more passes than they did, but they were very comfortable in that game, passing it out from the back most of the time. They were able to build their attack slowly, and at times when they needed to, because we'd pushed so high up as usual, they just hit it long, and we were done with pace every time. And we had no fullbacks, we had no midfield. Everyone just seemed to go missing. And again, that's been a theme for the last 2 months. This diabolical run that we're on, that just keeps happening time and time again. And it's not just like 1 or 2 times a game. It's like 5 times a half. We're being exposed at the back, leaving our keepers 1-on-1 or 3-on-1 or 3-on-2 or something daft like that. We're just being outnumbered all the time, all over the pitch. With a lack of overlaps, underlaps, no runners, no one wanting the ball. Everyone's scared to make a mistake, so nobody wants to touch the ball. And when they do make a mistake. So there's problems all over the place. And Pep, after the United game, people have been talking about how's he going to fix it. No one seems to know the answers. And to be honest, I don't know the answers. I don't think any of us doing. It's clear to me that Pep doesn't know the answers. And Pep did say himself that he is not good enough. And I don't know how much of that he believes, whether he does think he's not good enough for this. He has said that it's not the right time to walk away, but he's not immune to the sack. I'd also agree with that. With this run that we're on, I can't see it ending. And I've said this in number of videos now as well, that I can't see it ending. We're gonna get battered by Aston Villa. Last season we went there at the top of our game and we got absolutely battered. We only got beat 1-0, but we got battered there. And going forward now into that game where we're in this absolute state that we're in, we're not winning that game either. We're not going to get a point out of it. We've got Everton on Boxing Day. We're not going to get a point out of that. They just put up an incredible pack the bus display against Arsenal. They're going to do the same against us. But they know, like everyone knows, if you stay patient enough, if you survive the first 8 minutes of a match, you're going to score against us. And yeah, they're capable of keeping a clean sheet against us. And I'll probably put, I've got Pickford in my FPL team, and I'll keep him there and put Tarkowski in as well. So look, we got issues all over the place. And Pep said he's not good enough. Does he believe it? I don't know. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But I do think there's a ring of truth to that. I don't think Pep's the man you want in this situation. Pep's not used to this. It's obvious he's not used to this. We're not even used to this. This run we're on, we've not been this bad since, I think, before the 40s. So we're having an absolute shocker of a time. Because even when we were at our worst point in history in Division 2, we were never this bad. I know the players are different and there's different scenarios and all that nonsense. And you could argue that we were bad because we're in Division 2. Of course, we're worse than this team now. But at least we were competing with the teams we were around then. We're not even competing with the teams that are around us now. So, yes, Pep might not be good enough. He might not be the man for us to take us out of this slump. But he needs to. He really needs to. He just signed a contract. He signed a contract at the worst possible time when all the pressure was on him. And I think he's good at handling pressure in a certain sense. And I think that is when things are going well, we're winning. Pep's in good mood. Everyone's in good mood. His system's working. The players he puts on the pitch are doing their job, and everyone's together. That's when Pep thrives. That's when he shines. He's at his best. And you can forgive him then for his, his tinkering between games, his poor substitutions and his poor in-game management and his lack of versatility in changing the system and mixing things up. You can forgive all that because we're winning games, but now we're not. Now I've lost 8 in the last 11. And we've won 1 game in that time. 1 game in 2 months is madness, or 3 months. It's going to be 1 game in 12 after Saturday. So when things are going badly, all this tinkering is just highlighting his problems and his lack of ability to, just change things up and to think things through, because he's making all these tinkering and he's not giving players he's complaining about too much time in players' legs and not enough fitness, but he's doing that himself as well. I know we've got injuries everywhere, and we do. We have loads and loads of injuries, and we've We've suffered this season. It's our turn to suffer. Other teams have done it in previous seasons. This is our turn. But he's not helping himself, you know. And I've said this before in other videos that he'll play people like Grealish for one game and Doku like he did against Nottingham Forest. And I don't want to keep going back to that game, but it's the only game we've won in months. So he plays them in that game. I think Doku had his best game for us since arriving at the club. Grealish had his best game for us for a long, long time playing in the middle. And then he takes him out in the next game. And then he brings him on as subs late on. But it's too late by then. You know, so he's complaining about legs and he's not letting players build up that fitness because he just keeps swapping players in and swapping them out, thinking his usual tinkering is going to help. And we've seen that when he tinkers with teams, we lose Champions League finals and we lose semi-finals consistently over the last few seasons. I've always said in the Champions League, he's let himself down so many times because he's overthinking. And he's doing it again now in this run. He's overthinking things. And he's got to stop. He has to stop overthinking. He has to stop tinkering. He's just got to throw out the players he's got. You know, I would play them out of this slump, you know, play them into some fitness, do something, and just give us a chance. But he can't help himself. He's got to change it because he's thinking too much. He played Nunes at bloody left back. Why not put one of the academy players on there? Why not put Simpson Pucci in there in the middle alongside Diaz? Stick Vardy on the left instead of putting Nunes on the left-hand side, who struggled all game. I know we collapsed at the end of the game. And partly, well, it's mainly due to him. But we collapsed towards the end of the game. But it was on the cards all the way through. They targeted him down that side consistently because they know he didn't have the pace to keep up with Diallo. He's not a left back. But they just bullied him. And eventually it was going to give. And it did give, and it gave in an epic way. Again, another epic collapse. Not our first in the last few months. Not our first. And it won't be our last. We're going to do it time and time again. Because like I said, confidence is low. And when we can see the goal, the heads drop. And that's when we can see 3 or 4 in the next 3 minutes. You know, so that's one thing we've got to get out of the system as well. So Pep has to stop tinkering. He's got to stop overthinking. He's got to stop trying to fit players into positions they don't normally play and just trust the academy. Because if we trusted the academy more, we wouldn't have sold Palmer. We wouldn't have sold Delap. And there's a few other places where we probably wouldn't have let go. They're doing well now. So he's got to sort it out. And for me, the biggest problem is that he doesn't know how to lose. And that's it. That's the key aspect here. And when he says he's not good enough, and the reason I agree with him in a certain sense, is that when things are going well, you don't need to adapt. You don't need to learn lessons because you're the one everyone's learning lessons from. And over the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years, we've handed out some very, very harsh lessons to teams, and they're thriving on that now. You know, there's not really playing the Pep system anymore like they were trying to do a couple of years ago. They've adapted it so they can play against teams like us, and everyone now can play against us because they've learned, because we've handed out them lessons, them 4-5-0 batterings consistently over the last few years. So people have learned, managers have learned, players have learned, and they know how to beat us. But we've not learned anything in that time because we just keep doing the same thing over and over again. We're just repeating the process, you know? And I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, the definition of madness is repeating the same process, expecting different results, because we expect the same, you know, we expect the same results all the time. But when we're losing and that system's not working and then players are not working, Pep doesn't know what to do because he's not learned them lessons. He's not had batterings over the last 6-7 years that we've handed out. He's not had them. Yes, we've been beat harshly in semi-finals. Yes, we've been beaten in finals. You know, we've had a tough time with it. But nothing like we're being dealt with now. So he's not had to learn. He's not had to look at himself. He's not had to look at a team and try and adapt and change his way of play. He's not had to do it. And this is the first time in his career he's probably had to do that. And he's come up short. He doesn't have the answers for it. So yes, when he says he's not good enough, he's probably not good enough. Because unfortunately for us, he's not lost enough. It's silly to say, but you need to lose to kind of get yourself out of this slump. You can't just say, oh, let's all be together. Oh, let the crowd be loud and get behind us. It's not good enough. It's not. The players have to go through this period to know how to get out of it. And because it's the first time they're in it, they have no clues. They have no answers for it. And it shows on the pitch. Because like I said, the first thing a team needs to do, and the first thing that fans expect, and I think this is one of the reasons why the fans are booing at the end of that United game, because they've not booed, even when we got beat 4-0 by Tottenham, the fans didn't boo. They sang all the way through. They clapped the players off the pitch. You know, there wasn't that mass exodus that you get 5 minutes before. But once United scored that second goal, there was a massive exodus. And there was a booing at full time for the first time. That's the first time I've heard it since Pellegrini was there. It's the first time. And the players absolutely deserve it. Not because they're getting beaten, all of a sudden we're turning on them because we're fickle fans. It's because they show no effort whatsoever. That Derby game was disgusting, the way the players treated that. You know, United were more physical than us. They beat us in the air. They beat us physically. They beat us for pace. You know, they were beating us to the second ball. It's not good enough, particularly at the Etihad, and particularly not a derby. The minimum you have to do is just compete and do the same that they're doing, and we're not doing it, and that's why we're getting beat. You know, we can sit here and say our midfield goes missing, which they do. You can say that we push forward trying to get winners when we should just consolidate the draw and just shore things up, slow things down, which again, something we've not learned to do because we've not needed to. Where other teams time waste against us when it's 0-0. Yeah, we're time wasting against us when it's 1-0 because they know slow the game down, take the energy out of us, and, you know, fight into the second half. They were time wasting. We weren't time wasting. You know, even when we're 1-0 up, it's incredible. And yeah, the players just, it was disgusting, that United game. And it highlighted all the areas that we're short in at the moment, which is practically all over the pitch. And I'm not going to sit here and blame individual players for certain things, because some of them players are not good enough, and some of them players need to go in January. You know, I think it's time for a clear out, and that includes some of the heroes that, you know, gave us the treble. It includes some of them. But those players, all of them, need to do better. Every single one of them. You know, even Bernardo, who I think works harder than anyone else on that pitch, and he needs to do better as well. Bloody hell, we need a captain as well, decent one. But yeah, things need to change. Pep's not good enough. He doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't know how to fix it. And unfortunately, we're going to pay a heavy price, I think, because it's going to get worse before it gets better. I can't see us winning this month. Thankfully, we're at the Carabao Cup because, like I said, we need a rest. I'd love a World Cup right now. If a World Cup was about to come for the Christmas period, I'd love that. God, I miss them days, because we need a month off. We need to just regroup as a team. Do something. Go on a retreat somewhere. Put some cucumbers on the eyes. I don't know. Sit in robes together. I have no idea what the answer is. But it's probably not being on that pitch right now, because it's just making things worse. And the players must be taking a hit to their pride. I know as fans we are. As fans, we're taking it from everywhere, and we deserve to be, because like I said, we've handed out some massive defeats, some important defeats over the last few years. This is our turn. So I don't blame teams for celebrating like they've won the treble against us. United did it in the derby. I'd be doing the same if we won that game, because, God, we're crap at the moment. And that's it. Pep not good enough. Is he the man to get us out of a slump? Don't know. He's the man for success. He's the man that's going to lead you to titles, because he knows how to do it. He's been there. He's done that. He's not been there and done this. He's not done it. Bring in Sean Dyche. That's what I say. Why not? Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for always hit like, hit subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.